We're live. We're live. We're live, people. Let's let people trickle. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. What do you think? Should we count down? We'll give everybody a minute. Welcome. All right, looks like some people are trickling. Welcome, everybody. Throw me a comment real quick. Let me know you're watching. Let's give us a 30-second. What do you think? We'll give ourselves 30 seconds, and then we'll just rip it. Hey guys, I got like 15, 20 people trickling in right here. Glad you're here. We're going to get jumping in. My phone, I'm watching myself. It's all very meta. Welcome everybody. We're here to talk about MSP discovery. Tim Carby, welcome. Welcome to the show, buddy. Glad you're here. Joining from Toronto. Listen, do me a favor. Tell me where you're joining from. Throw it in the comment real quick. Everybody let me know where you're coming in from. I'm sitting in Los Angeles. I'm apparently at the epicenter of all landscape work and all leaf blowers, because just not a half a stone's throw away from me, it sounds like two people are trying to blow each other off the face of the earth by blowing leaf blowers in each other's faces. So hopefully my microphone is canceling that out well for you. All right, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're going to rock and roll, okay? So this is not sales pitch today. Here we go. Hey, everybody. Kalamazoo, huh? That can't be a real place. Cambodia. Liar. No, wait, Brian, great to see you. D.C. area, Oakland, South Florida. A couple of Floridians around. Welcome, welcome. Love a good Canadian. Oh, John, hey, great to see you. We met in person a few weeks ago up in Toronto. That was a good time. Sean Inman in Fort Worth. Hey, Sean, remind me. I think I'm going to come to Fort Worth. Well, just outside of Fort Worth in a month or two. We're going to do a live event there. That's a spoiler alert. That's not public info yet. Hit me up. Welcome from South Africa. Welcome from Seattle. All right, guys. So, housekeeping, let's rock and roll. This is not a sales pitch. I will not be pitching you what I sell, so you can unclench and relax. My goal for today is that you get so much value out of this that I stick in your brain, okay? And I want to help you make more money. That's my secret agenda. I am going to give away some free stuff, so stick around later. We're going to give away some free resources that are designed to help you sell more. So I'm not giving away, fidget spinners. Ari, great to see you from the Jersey area. Let me throw this up in here. Mark, I'll tell you how it's going. It's going pretty good. Great to see you, man. All right. So again, no pitches, but we are going to give away some free stuff. Just give me a little bit, and we will keep you posted on. I'll be putting that link to some free stuff in the chat. If you're watching on LinkedIn, it looks like most of you are watching on LinkedIn. One or two of you might be on YouTube. LinkedIn feeds sometimes crash, and I'm not in charge of that. If this LinkedIn feed crashes, you can jump ship, because this is going into YouTube as well. Just in the description of this event, on the LinkedIn event, you'll see a YouTube feed link. So just jump ship, run over there. I will still be here, okay? Ashley, great to have you. I'll still be rocking and rolling. I'll just be on YouTube. And final piece of housekeeping is this. This is designed for you to ask me questions. There's a reason we're doing this live, and I didn't just make this an on-demand webinar. I want you to get what you came here for. Now that ball is officially in your court. If you came here to get a specific piece of information, or you want something I say you don't understand or you disagree and you want to push against it, or you want to clarify it, that is your job. You can say it to me in the chat, and if you don't, I won't know that you have that question. So do me that favor, please, and just put your questions and your comments in the chat. Put it 100 times if you want to in the chat. And there's questions that I can pull up right on screen, and I can answer those for you if they're a question that if I could stop what I'm doing and answer it. But the goal is to leave the last like 15, 20 minutes all to Q&A. Okay? Does that sound good? All right, Brian. Brian says, get on with it. You got it, buddy. Let's talk about MSP discovery. So there's two problems with running discovery in managed services. Two problems, guys. Discovery, I'm going to define just so that we're clear. A discovery call, or the discovery phase, is after somebody has raised their hand for interest. This is not a cold call where I say, hi, you don't know me, and my name is Brian. I sell IT services. Would you like some? That's not a discovery call in our nomenclature. Discovery call is somebody goes, you do what? What is this? Okay, hang on. Yeah, all right. I can talk a little bit, but not right now. And you say, great. How's 11:30 tomorrow? And they go, fine. I'll call you then. Good job. You booked a discovery call. Now you're into discovery. This meeting is really, really important. I actually argue that the way you run your discovery call has more of a bearing on whether or not you close than how you run your closing call. I'm going to say that again. The way you run your discovery call is more impactful to whether or not you'll win a customer than the closing call. And we need to solve the main two problems that MSPs face in this process. There are two problems. The first one is a common one. We push too hard, we scare them, or we overwhelm them, or we irritate them. This is usually going to be the camp of the people who have read one sales book. They're drinking the Kool-Aid of one of these like sales influencers who's like, drinking a protein shake and telling you you're a loser on their videos and making you all get all ramped up. So we read one book and we go, oh, I'm going to get more aggressive. I'm going to say these questions. I'm going to try this stuff. And we get in really hard. Okay. That creates a lot of problems. The order in which you do things in sales is really important. It's the most important. You could do everything at a B-, but if you do it in the right sequence, you'll win the deal. You could do a few things perfectly, but if you do them in the wrong order, you will not close the deal. Case in point, I made coffee this morning and I use a pour over. Okay, I use a pour over, which means you grind the beans, you put it in a little funnel, you get hot water, you pour it in there. There's only like 3 steps. Grind beans, put the beans in the filter, heat up the water, pour the water. Can I do that in the wrong order? Sure. But if I grind beans, heat up water, pour the water, and then put in the beans, I did not make coffee. I made water that's been filtered through a paper filter because I did everything right, but in the wrong order. What am I getting at here? Oftentimes we try to come in as if we have a certain degree of trust or authority or relationship built with the prospect by saying things that they really don't want to hear or really aren't ready to hear. And that looks like pushing too hard. So you're saying things that are important for them to know, but you're saying them before you've earned the right to say them. And therefore, not only do they not work, they actually have the inverse effect, and you work 5 steps backwards in your trust building. Make sense? So that's a very common problem. This is when people, they push too hard and they scare the client, the sky is falling, the client doesn't fall for it, and now you look like a schmuck, you lose the deal. Here's the other one, and this is actually the much more common one. Much, much more common is we're too friendly with the prospect and the prospect doesn't take action. This happens like probably 85% of the time, and it's always under the same, everybody falls into this trap for the same reason, because they say, well, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to irritate people. I don't want to be a nuisance. I don't know how many times to follow up, blah, blah, blah. So we want them to like us because we've read How to Win Friends and Influence People. And we know that we need to be, they need to know, like, and trust us. So I have to be likable. So I have to be friendly. We have to get along. We have to build some rapport. And then later, once I build a bunch of rapport, then they'll finally take action. What ends up happening is you spin a lot of wheels. Maybe you have a polite, cordial conversation, but this deal doesn't get done. Those are the people that are going to ghost you. The first pool, they're going to ghost you after discovery. The second pool, they're going to ghost you after the presentation. So if you're sending out contracts and you never hear anything back, you're probably making this mistake. Now, let me know in the chat here. I think I'm on a little bit of a delay. But is this sounding familiar to anybody? Hey, Randy. Sounding familiar to anybody? Sean says, Porvers are the best. Yeah, they are. Sounding familiar to Sean. Yeah. This happens all the time, kind of maybe constantly, maybe even chronically. This is happening in your sales process. This is not a market fit issue. This is not a price issue. This is not a competition issue. This is your fault. This is a discovery process issue. And we have to split the difference between these two camps. Here we go. Now I've caught the delay. You're all saying, yes, 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 it's familiar. It's familiar. The latter is familiar. Yes, Andy, I understand completely. We have to split the difference. We can't fall into one of these two camps. But can you do two half bad strategies and combine them into a good strategy? No, that's not how math works. You can't be really buddy-buddy and then say a bunch of intense stuff and then try to be buddy-buddy again. That way lies madness. That is not balance. This is more than just a balancing act. This is the way we need to do this and fix your discovery. So we have to totally rewrite how you process what discovery is. We need to make fundamental, existential, philosophical changes. If you were hoping that this webinar I was going to give you a 5-word hack that's going to immediately change your life, you should leave this webinar. That's not what I do. Hacks are for hacks. I know how to win business, and that is because I know how to do it the hard way. That's what we're seeking to do, okay? We need to completely pivot. This is what I'm describing. This is how you do it. We need to turn our judgment in our discovery process, judgment into curiosity, and self-seeking into empathy. Don't tune out. Just stick with me, please. Judgment needs to be traded for curiosity. Self-seeking needs to be traded for empathy. Now, we still have to discern and arguably we still have to judge what's going on. We still have to make conclusive decisions as the subject matter expert. And of course, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't get anything out of making a sale. Obviously, that's why we're doing this, is we win when we win the sale. We get something we need. But we don't want to come in with firing on those two barrels without the latter, okay? You might have heard that Ted Lasso incorrectly cites Walt Whitman for that quote, "Don't be judgmental, be curious." That's actually, he never wrote that anywhere. There's some debate as to where that quote actually came from. But yeah, it's an important quote, and it's pretty relevant. Let's talk about what that actually means. Okay, so how am I supposed to be curious, Brian? What does be empathetic mean? Well, luckily for you, I've developed an entire sales philosophy around this core idea. It's called the Feel-Good Close. I can't teach you the whole Feel-Good Close today. We've got 30 more minutes, 45 more minutes. But I am going to show you the mechanism, the mechanics to how we make this pivot in literally the way that we structure the meeting. We're going to get really, really tactical in just a second, I promise. If you have any questions or you want any clarity on anything I've said so far, throw it in the chat, please. And just know I'm running about a minute, 90-second delay, something like that. So I'll get there in a minute. We need to create urgency, which is the whole point of the first mistake, is we need to create urgency. We need to get this person off their butt. We have to overcome the status quo, which is really hard to do. Status quo is this magnetic pull, right? Like people would rather the devil I know than the devil I don't. And oftentimes the problems that people have in the status quo are there because as a result of their own complacency. They have these problems because of themselves. And that's a really hard thing to fix. Case in point, some of you have probably read a lot of great books that have told you a lot of great tactics that could help you in your sales process that you probably have not implemented. And I'm not trying to call you out. I've done the same thing. I know exactly what I should be doing for my health, and then I know what I am doing for my health, and there's a delta. Okay? It's hard to do, even if you have an awareness of the problem. Most of your clients don't. So we have to create urgency, but we create urgency in the Feel-Good Close by staying on topic, staying relevant, and building connection. Staying on topic, staying relevant, building connection. Let me explain really fast what a sales process looks like. In Feel-Good Close, we use this. We call it the ECF funnel. Engage, consult, fulfill. This is the entire sales process for how to sell managed services. Today, we're talking about this, okay? I can't fix every single problem for you right now. I'm just talking about once somebody has raised their hand, what are you supposed to do next? And how do you best do it to capitalize on all the work you've done before now and ensure that you're going to successfully get them through the rest of the funnel and close a great client at the right price. This is what we're focusing on today. Okie doke, let's get into it. I'm going to show you the table of contents of how to run a discovery call. If you're a note taker, this is a great place to start. This is the outline of a proper discovery call. For me, a discovery call is usually a Teams or Teams, Zoom, or phone. We always did it on phone because we just did. So your cold caller, your SDR, whatever, who is setting appointments for you has set this meeting. Who runs the discovery call depends, it changes MSP to MSP. Sometimes it's the SDR themselves. It's very often the owner. I find if you're under 2-3 million, it's probably you, the owner. Or you might have an account manager or an ops person or whoever's going to actually end up delivering the service or delivering the proposal is usually involved. You really don't need everybody on your team here. This isn't a show of force. You just need one person who knows what they're doing. Because in my mind, the discovery is where we just set up if this is a right fit. So you might call this an FTA, first time appointment. You might call it a right fit call, an introductory call. I don't care what you call it. I'm using the term discovery, but this is how we structure it. Number one, we set an agenda. Now, another great term for agenda, if you're familiar with Sandler's sales system, would be an upfront contract. Very reminiscent of the upfront contract. This isn't a piece of paper that we fax them the morning of that says, I'm going to talk to you about all these bullets. This is something we set in the meeting to set the right expectation, to get a great first impression, and to make sure that we get everything out of this meeting that we need to make sure the meeting doesn't go off the rails and we can keep control of the meeting. If you're losing control of meetings, it's because you're not setting agendas. Then we run through our discovery questions. Then we're going to go through what we call deal structuring questions. We're going to answer all of the prospects questions. We're going to close the consultation. The consultation is the next meeting where we do our proper due diligence, probably a site survey or some network discovery. The more advanced stuff where it's like the CYA stuff before you come in and give a proposal. If you don't do any of that and you go straight to a proposal, then the next meeting you need to close, whatever the next meeting is in your process, the point of the discovery call is not to close a deal. I'm going to pause for 5 seconds for dramatic effect and then say that again. The point of a discovery call is not to close a deal. The point of a discovery call is to book the next meeting in the sales process. This is where you're probably over qualifying because you expect that these guys are going to be ready to do the deed right away, that they're going to have context for price, that they understand their problem, that they want to make a decision right now because you're probably used to these being referrals. Selling and order taking are two different things. And if you're taking a referral comes in and it's a one-touch close, that does not mean you know how to sell. That means you know how to take an order. Sales is different. When you start working with marketing or outbound and you start generating leads, real proper leads, they need discovery. They need to be qualified. They can't just go straight for the close. Yes, Ashley asked, can we go into deal structure questions? Absolutely, I will. I've got a slide all about that. Great question. So this is again, that's a table of contents. Let's go into chapter 1. Setting an agenda. It's very simple. I'm going to show you the entire formula. We spent a whole week on this in the Feel-Good MSP, just learning how to set agendas. And I'm going to show you all the bullets, and then I'm going to show you what it sounds like. The first thing you do when you start a meeting is define the meeting's purpose. Actually, let me back one step up. If you are not prepared with what you're going to say when the meeting starts, then your brain is going to fill the space with words that you may or may not have any control over. This is the most chronic problem that I see with MSPs. Owners who they go in and wing it, and they're like, well, yeah, I've done this a bunch of times. I know what I'm doing. I'll just get into it. So they show up, and because you don't have anything prepared, you just go, yeah, thanks for coming. So a little bit about us. We've been around since 2003, and we serve we've served over 200 businesses. We're currently actively working with 55 of them. I've got a Microsoft background, and this is Joel here. Joel here's he's got a Mac background. You just start talking about shit that nobody cares about. You are blowing your first impression. You think that what you're supposed to say is all the things that make you impressive. But in reality, the best way to be impressive is by knowing what the hell you're doing and talking about them. Because everybody likes people like talking about themselves. They don't like talking about you. So you've got to be ready for what words are you going to say, exact words are you going to say when you start a meeting, and it starts with the purpose. Hello, Sally. Thank you for meeting with me. The reason we're here is this. The reason we're here is to see if we could be a good IT partner for you based off some of the problems that you expressed to my team member the other day. My light just brightened itself. Now I'm too bright. Based off of what you told my team member the other day, then we get into the meeting time frame. This meeting is going to take me 15 minutes. It could be 20, depending on how many questions you have. What I need is to get through 6 or 7 non-technical questions. Is there anything that you're going to need from me? And the main thing I'm going to do is make sure I understand who's providing you IT support right now, what that relationship looks like, and how you're paying them. And in my mind, if this meeting is a success, this meeting is a success if we know that we either shake hands and part ways, or we should go to the next step in the process. And then finally, does all of that sound good to you, Mr. Prospect, Mrs. Prospect? The whole thing at speed looks like this. Hey, Sally, thanks for being here. The reason we're meeting today is to see whether or not we could be a good IT partner for you. This meeting is going to take me about 15 minutes. It could go longer than that depending on how many questions you have. What I'm going to ask you is 6 or 7 non-technical questions. We're not going to get into all the acronyms and stuff like that, just to give me a lay of the land. And I'm going to ask you some things about how you're currently being managed, what that relationship's like, how you pay them, stuff like this. I'll answer any question that you want about us. And in my mind, at the end of this meeting, we should know that it's either not a right fit or it's worth going to the next step in the process, which would be an on-site visit. How does all of that sound? I'm good at doing that because I have read that agenda out loud probably 1,000, 2,000 times. I haven't taken 1,000 discovery calls. I've taken hundreds for sure, but because I read it in the mirror, because I say it out loud while I'm driving, because I filmed myself saying this and listened back to it countless times. Countless times. When you start a meeting like this, you are doing more for your reputation than if you talked about yourself and how all of your accolades for 20 minutes. And you can do this, by the way, in 25 seconds. That's what setting in a meeting looks like. Sean has this great question. What if they want some pricing on the call? Sure. I have a whole slide on that in a second. The short answer is answer the question, but you need to answer the question equivocally, meaning you need to answer the question within their question based off of the context of what they know about what you do. Said another way, it depends on what their understanding of managed services is will determine the degree of specificity I'll give on pricing on call one. And I'll explain that again in more detail in just a minute. Great question. Let's get into discovery questions. You already have discovery questions probably. You probably have too many discovery questions. If you don't have this like a predetermined pool of questions that you're going to pick from, then you're wasting calories and you are probably losing opportunities. You need to just know what you need to know. Okay? I like to open with a simple softball. Tell me about your IT. Or why are we here? What can I do for you? Something like that. So you called them. You said you wanted to meet. Happy to help. Why are we on the phone today? Now they're going to give you they're going to give you one of two things. They're going to either just start talking or they're going to give you a short answer. The reason we ask them a softball question up front is not just to gauge what information they know and to get the answer from them. We are gauging their technical literacy, which is just as important. What's happening in their environment is just as important as what they know about what's happening in their environment when it comes to building a narrative about why they need an MSP. Do you see? Because if they come in and go, yeah, we upgraded from Ubiquiti to Meraki APs 18 months ago. Those licenses are up for a renewal. We had a SonicWall TZ350, but we're looking at going up a model. If they're giving you acronyms and names, then that's really good information. If they go, I don't know, my computer's a bit slow. I don't know. What do you want to know? That's also really good information. That's going to help us meet them where they are in our process. Okay? Sometimes people think that the goal of this discovery is to show how smart we are, but that's not true. The goal of this discovery is to understand what they need. Don't be judged. Don't be self-seeking. Be empathetic. After the softball, this is a big thorn in a lot of your sides that you're going to disagree with me on. I want you to collect the minimum amount of technical information required for you to move to the next step. We're not here to close the deal. We're here to close the on-site consultation. All you need to know is this something that's worth driving to? How many users do they have? Is there a server? Do we know what it does? Do you guys have Wi-Fi? Do I have to manage phones? And who's your IT company now? That's the stuff I really need to know. Everything else doesn't matter. You can get all of that later. Okay? But the mistake we make is it's called discovery fatigue. We give the prospect discovery fatigue because they start answering questions, and we use that as a sign that we should ask every question we can because we're like, well, I don't know if I'll ever get this again. That's true with deal structuring questions. That's not true with discovery questions. Discovery questions are easy. You can get that whenever you want. Deal structuring questions are easier to get now and harder to get later. And then we want to repeat back to them the important points that we want to revisit. So if they say something like, we don't have Wi-Fi, but we need it, we go, okay, I'm going to make sure that we bring that up later. It sounds like Wi-Fi is a big pain for you guys right now. That was a bit of a Freudian slip. This is another great piece of advice that I coach all of my MSPs. You should never use the phrase pain point in a sales meeting. Never use the phrase pain point in a sales meeting. Imagine I walked up to a stranger in a bar because I wanted to be friendly and I wanted to make a friend. And I started by saying, hey, hi, nice to meet you. What are your insecurities? That's a stupid question. It's self-seeking, it's awkward, and they're not going to give you a straight answer because they don't trust you enough to give you a straight answer. But there's other ways of getting their pain points without having to ask for it. And I'm going to give you the magical 3 discovery questions right now. And this is worth writing down. You're going to get all the pain you ever need without ever having to ask for it by being much more normal and empathetic. And the questions are as follows. Number 1, what do you need? Number 2, why do you need it? Number 3, why don't you have it? What do you need? Why do you need it? Why don't you have it? If you think about it, that's everything you really need to know. We're going to ask it like, so, Mrs. Customer, why are we on the phone today? She says, I'm looking for an IT company. Okay. Why are you looking for an IT company? Don't say, oh, well, that's funny because I am an IT company and I'm the best. And let me tell you why I'm so great. Why do you need an IT company? Well, we're having some issues, okay? Such as our computers are slow. We don't really know what the server does. They want us to buy a new one. It just seems totally crazy because it feels like we could do all this in Google now. I don't know why we need to do this. We don't really love talking with them, blah, blah, blah. Wow, that's a lot of great pain we just got. And now we're going to ask, okay, is there a reason you're only coming to this now? Why haven't you already fired them? It sounds like you're unhappy. That's the why don't you have it. We're going to figure out authority, need, and timing with all of these questions. And frankly, we can get to budget. I'll pause here for a second. I'm going to I want some questions to come into the chat. Keep them coming. If you have questions on anything on discovery questions, because we're going to move on to deal structuring questions right now. Ashley says, are you also setting on-site discovery during this call? Yes. We end this meeting by scheduling the next meeting. That's the last step of the outline. Sean, they go, what's your price? It's a great question. I promise we'll get to that. I'm going to give another 30 seconds. I'm just waiting for the questions to come in because I'm on a tiny bit of a delay. Is there any other questions about discovery? You guys ready to move on? Waiting. It looks like we're good to go. Looks like we're good. Okay. Just making sure everybody's happy here. Oh, you can't even see my beautiful face. What am I doing? All right. Sounds a bit confrontational, creates defensiveness. Can those questions be asked with how rather than why? Yes. So you're not going to say the words, what do you need? Why do you need it? Why don't you have it? You're going to use much more natural language to ask those questions. But that's the information you need to collect. Yeah, Sheila, you're right. I'm not going to say, what do you need? Why do you need it? Why don't you have it? Of course. But to my point, I gave that example earlier. So why are we on the phone today? I need an IT company. Why do you need an IT company? I don't think there's anything confrontational about that. Not at all. Tell me more. You could even just say, tell me more. That's very easy. But your job is to find this information. That is our whole job. We can't be afraid of digging a layer deeper. Okay, now Sandler system and a lot of the other kind of processes are all about looking for pain. Okay, what we're really looking for are motivations. And pain is the number one motivator for sure. But what we really need to know is are you going to, why are we on the phone? What do you want? Can I give it to you? That's the subtext of what we're looking for. Okay, I'm moving on because I'm not getting any more questions. It looks like you guys are happy. Deal structuring, this is the magic sauce, everybody. Ashley's going to be happy because we're finally on to her question. Deal structuring are questions that are not related to the technical specifics, but these are related to the scaffolding that will get a contract signed. Your job as a salesperson, the whole purpose of a salesperson's job is to get two parties to agree to a deal and execute it, and then pass an executed agreement to another team who then actually fulfills it. So why would we skip these questions in our first meeting? Now you can go nuclear here, which is what many people do. Many people say, here's my price, take it or leave it. And they think that that's them being a good salesperson. But you got to understand that value is subjective. They don't know what you do yet. So they might not be ready for price. What I sell, I give price at the end of my discovery calls. I have no problem giving price, but we need to get some context before we just say, hello, I'm an IT company. It's $200 per user. Yes, or are you in or out? That's not sales, guys. You're screwing away thousands of deals, millions of dollars because you're trying to do it on the wrong order. You're pouring the water in before you put the beans in. You'll get there. We'll cover all of that, I promise. But you got to do this in the right order. So deal structure, the basic framework we're going to use that I use is BANT, budget, authority, need, and timing. These are the 4 things that we have to have in order for a deal to exist. Budget, this is how we are going to ask them for budget, and I'm willing to play the card back in exchange. But I set up in the agenda, you might remember I said, I'm going to ask you about your current IT company, how that relationship is structured, and how you pay them. I'm going to give you a real example of how I would do this in an MSP, plus or minus 1 or 2 words. I'd go, so tell me who's managing your IT right now, or how are you doing that? And they go, we have a company. Okay. And what's the relationship? Like, how is that relationship structured with that company? I'm going to start there, and they sometimes get it, and they sometimes ask for clarity. They might go, how do you mean? I go, well, do you pay them a fixed amount every month, or do you just call them when something breaks and you pay them more like a plumber? Because they don't know they might not know what break fix versus managed services is. And they go, oh, no, we pay them a fixed monthly fee, but then other stuff they charge extra. Got it. Other stuff like what? Like when you buy new computers and stuff or projects? Yes, exactly. Okay. And what are you paying them every month? Once you've done this about 7 to 10 times, the first 7 to 10 times you ask that question, you're going to be awkward and you're not going to be sure of yourself. And so they're going to sort of like waffle a little bit. By the 11th time you ask, you just go, okay, and what do you pay them every month? And they'll go, oh, I don't know, I think it's about $3,000. You go, okay. So what's wrong with it? What's the problem? We're going to get into, again, we're bringing back in the pain. We're associating with budget. There's no reason that you can't ask for budget on the call. What are you paying your current IT company? Worst case scenario is they go, well, I'm not really comfortable disclosing that. And you go, oh, okay. Are you worried I'm going to like raise my price and make it like only $1 less or something? I'm just going to challenge that objection. What is their objection? My price doesn't change. My price is my price. We haven't gotten into it yet. So they might go, well, I don't know. What is your price going to be? And I go, of course. Great question. It could be anywhere from $100 to $200 per month per user. And that depends on how much we do and depends on how much licensing and stuff you already have. So I promise I'm working towards that number. And I'm going to get you a napkin math number today, but I'm probably not going to get you like an exact figure. I hope that's okay. So how many employees do you have? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be between this number and this number. Now, what are you paying right now? So you show a card, they show a card. You're just building trust by staying focused on the solution, staying relevant, building connection. Make sense? Again, how we ask about budget depends on how they're being supported. It really breaks down to, what is it? Are we replacing an internal team? Is this a co-managed deal? Do they have break fix? Do they have nothing? Do they have an MSP that they hate? All of these things are going to change the way we can describe value because the value is in the eye of the beholder, right? Value is in the eye of the prospect. So the way that we explain our price, I'm not saying our price changes. I'm saying the context around how we give price is really important based off of their understanding of what we do. If they have break fix, they don't yet understand that nobody's ever gotten them to swallow the pill that they need an MSP. Therefore, they're not ready for you to go, it's $250 a seat, take it or leave it. They're going to say no, just like they said no to everybody else. But that doesn't mean they wouldn't buy it from you if you did this the right way. That's what selling is. 35% of my contracts who signed at one point said to me, that's too expensive. 1 in 3 of my deals said it was too expensive, and then they bought anyway. It's not because I'm manipulative. It's not because I'm persuasive. It's not because I'm a bully. I'm just a good salesperson. Because I get curious, and I go, okay, what do you mean by that? Remind me, Sean, if we have time later, I'm going to get into more of my practicals for price reversals. So, where are we at? If an MSP, if they have an MSP they're unhappy with, go straight to budget. If you go, who's managing now? They go, well, I have an MSP, we're really not happy with them. You go, okay, got it. Well, my price ranges from this to this. What are you paying? And I love to come in more expensive. Love it. And by the way, it doesn't serve you to be 5% more expensive than all your competitors. I'd rather be twice as expensive as all my competitors than 1% more expensive. Because there's a reason that they're leaving. They have pain. And we can associate that pain with their lack of budget. It's called narrative tunneling, where they go, well, they're slow to respond. The guy's always in a bad mood. It feels like stuff keeps breaking, even though they say they keep fixing it. And I go, okay. Do you think that might have anything to do with how little they're charging you? Well, what do you mean? Well, IT is very expensive to deliver. Certifications are expensive. And it's a pretty human-intensive business. So I could see if we didn't charge enough, we wouldn't have the human power nor the resources to do it well. And by the way, Mr. Customer, we're pretty much always the most expensive. And yet people sign with us all the time, and our clients don't leave on average of 8 to 10 years. Why do you think people work with us knowing that they could get IT somewhere else cheaper? That's some of the moves that I use. I'm kind of brushing over them, but if they have an MSP but they don't have pain, ask why they would be willing to leave, and then use a lever for higher or lower cost. Meaning, like, if I gave you everything that you had right now and the price was lower, is that enough for you to leave? Because it's a big pain to leave. Or we say, if I gave you everything we had and solved the problem that you're talking about, but the price went up, would you move forward? It's called an if I could, would you premise. If I could solve that problem, but your price went up, would you do it? If they say, well, how much? That means yes, I will pay more. If they say, no, we have to keep our budget exactly where it is, we go, got it. So if I cut your price in half, but I gave you way worse service than you're getting now, would you do that deal? Well, no, I wouldn't do that deal. I mean, it's tough to give good service. Okay, so you understand, we're on the same page. It's not only about dollars, it sounds like. We've got to find a happy medium where you get the right service, but you're paying what seems like a fair rate. Am I hearing you right? Understood. So what we're doing is we're enmeshing these two topics to show them that their money is their power. And if they invest it where it should be, then they'd solve their problems. This is us. We don't have to be the hero. They are the hero. They're in charge of their own destiny. And we're empowering them to think about their money in the right way and spend it where they need it so that their life is better. I wish I could talk for... I should just do another one of these. Put in the comments. If you want an entire webinar all about price objections, put it in the comments. Seriously. I could do 45, 60 minutes just on that. If they do break fix, they're not ready to talk budget. They're not. It's unkind to give somebody a truth that they're not yet ready to digest. So if they use break fix, we go, okay, so then all we want to do is get them to swallow one pill, which is, instead of waiting for stuff to break and then billing you, you're going to pay us a fixed monthly fee to make sure that it doesn't break. And this way, we are incentivized for things to work well, rather than being incentivized to make sure that things keep breaking. You ask that question, you say it in that way, and they go, okay, I get it. Well, how much is it going to be? And you go, I don't have the answer yet. I promise I'll get it to you as fast as I can. What I need to do is come on site and take a look, because we don't know what's under the hood when somebody is being managed reactively. I don't yet know really what I'm going to get into. Do you happen to have your calendar handy? And you go straight for the discovery call. That's how you sell. Guys, I converted break fix to MSP all the time, because nobody was ever empathetic with them. They were judgmental and go, well, you need to be on managed services. This is the price. Just get over it. And they could never make that leap. Make sense? Okay. Authority. Guys, the way you need to ask for this is pretty simple. Who else on the team is involved in this project? Start there. Who else on the team is involved in this project? And then they go, it's me and Dale. And then you say, another one is, if we gave you an agreement that you liked, would you be the signatory? Or who would be the signatory? This is a much more empathetic and natural way of asking the question, who's the boss? And then what information do you still need to collect before you can make a decision? We're figuring out their buying committee. If you're selling to the SMBs, it's usually the owner, maybe the ops partner, anybody like 20, 40 users. Anybody like 40 users or above, a good business is going to delegate these decisions. If you're trying to sell 75 users, you don't need the CEO. This is another piece of advice that I'm going to shirk what everybody else on the internet is telling you. You do not need to pitch to decision makers. You especially don't need all your decision makers in discovery calls. I mean, give me a break, guys. Would I be a good CEO if I made every single decision in my company? Of course not. And frankly, the CEO is usually the most detached from the pains that end users are actually experiencing. It's oftentimes better for you to have an office manager, a secretary, an operations director, an administrator. It's oftentimes way better because they have a finger on the pulse of the actual problems that users face, and they know how to sell stuff to their boss. You can turn that person into your champion and let them sell it with you internally. So I have no problem running sales processes without an owner. Of course, you need an owner eventually. If whoever's going to sign the agreement has to know what's in the agreement before they sign it. But in discovery, it doesn't have to be. So in discovery, we ask these questions: who else on the team's involved? And they go, well, my job is to get 3 quotes. Dale's going to sign it, or Sally's going to sign it. We go, okay, got it. So at what point do you want me to talk to Sally? Oh, once we're in the final steps. Got it. So does that mean you feel 100% confident that you can relay my entire 10-page agreement to Sally, or should I be there to help you do that? Oh, I don't know. Okay, why don't we cover that when we get there? Do you want Sally to be in the on-site visit with me next week, or is it just me and you? So we're integrating the discovery, the signatory into the deal in the appropriate steps. But everybody has this old school way of thinking that you've got to go straight to the decision maker and everybody else is a hurdle. That's a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Mike says, what was the question to ask there about break fix? So when they have a break fix, we say, okay, right now you're waiting for something to break, and then you're paying them to come in and fix it after it breaks. But we don't do it that way. Instead, you would pay us a fixed monthly fee to make sure that you pay us to stop things from breaking. That way, we are incentivized for things to run smoothly. We make more money when you have less problems. But in the old way, we only make more money if you have more problems. Can you see how that might be a conflict of interest? Now you're dependent on my integrity alone to know that you're getting a good deal. And I have integrity, but I don't know about you. I don't want to stake my whole budget on some stranger's integrity. I want to know that you did your job right. Hope that makes sense. Okay. We're getting there. That's authority. Next, we're getting into need. Hope you guys are doing great. We have so much still to do. Into need, why change providers? You got to remember that leaving the status quo is so freaking difficult. It's such a huge lift. It's such a big pain in the butt. We want to sell in the negative here, so we're going to use what are called negative reversals to make sure that there's enough urgency that they have, or we can create the urgency now before we go down the road later and get ghosted. If you don't do this now, you're going to get ghosted at the proposal because they're going to think in their head that they're ready. Then it comes time to actually sign it, and they realize, oh, it's such a pain. I'm just going to stick with what I got. If you have proposals that you've been chasing for 6 to 12 months, this is why. So a negative reversal. Hey, not to sound negative, but is it really worth going through all of this to transition IT partners? It's a lot of work. You might be fearing that we're planting a seed in their head that now this deal isn't going to happen. But this was going to come into their head. If you don't say it, it's going to come into their head later when they're reading their proposal alone, and you're going to have no control over helping shepherd them through that maze, that mental maze, right? All the problems that this buyer has right now are problems of their own design. They're problems of their own personal limitations. They aren't willing to take action to get this thing done. It's like the pile of mail I'm looking at right now that has been on my desk for 8 months, that if I would just open it and read it, I could shred it, and it would just take 2 seconds. But I'm in my own way about that. And so I haven't done it. This is how they are about IT. They haven't changed it because of themselves. So you've got to provoke this question now when you can then be there to shepherd them through the maze of their own issues. Is it really worth going through all the change? And they go, no, yeah, it is. And you go, okay, well, I mean, this is what it's going to entail. If you work with me, it's going to be a meeting, and then we're going to do that. Then you're going to have to cancel them. Then we're going to have some handover. It's going to be some retraining on the user side. You guys sure you're ready for all that? And finally, what if I quote you for exactly what you want, but it's a lot more money than before, than what you're paying now? Sean, we talked about, you want to talk about price objections again. There's no such thing as, well, how do I say it this way? People are not looking for the best MSP in the world. They're looking for better than they have now. They think they want the best, but they're not. They're not going to interview every MSP in Dallas-Fort Worth. They're going to interview 2 or 3 total. They just want their problem to go away. Now, the amazing thing about selling to a company who has an MSP is that they already have a price in place, and their model's probably not that different than yours. It might be per device instead, or it might have licensing separate, whatever. So you do need to get a copy of the agreement or the invoice. But you say, what if I quote you exactly what you're looking for, everything you just told me you want, and you get the service level you want, but it's more money than you're paying now? Then what do we do? And they go, well, we evaluate it, and if it's worth it, we sign it. And then you say, okay, just to be clear, what you're telling me is there's a world where I give you a proposal that's a higher price and you would sign it? They go, I don't want the price to be higher. That's not what I said. I just want to know, Mr. Customer, are you willing to pay more if it means getting what you need? That's what I'm asking you. And I'm going to keep drilling until they go, in theory, we'll see what it is, blah, blah, blah. They don't want to say yes because they don't want to pay more. But this is your way of saying, I just want to make sure, look, it takes about 5 hours of manual labor for me to go through this process and give you a quote. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm probably going to be around 125 to 175 per user per month. You're paying around 110 per user per month right now if what you're telling me is true, which means your price is almost definitely going to go up. What I'm asking you is it worth going to the end of this process together right now? When they say, yes, I want to take the next meeting, you just got a verbal commitment to pay more. Later then, Sean, when you give them the proposal and they go, that's expensive, instead of going, well, but remember, this is everything you're getting, and explaining it again, you don't say that. You say this question. Are you ready? When somebody says, that's expensive, you say, what do you mean? What do you mean? Right now, my tone is coming off all intense because I'm in presenter mode. I'm not going to read it that way like a jackass. I'm not being confrontational. I'm clarifying. The first step, our objection handling process is simple: clarify, isolate, collaborate. Clarify, isolate, collaborate. So the first step is, what do you mean it's too expensive? Well, I just feel like I should be getting more for the money. Okay, so you feel like the value doesn't match the price tag. Is that what you're saying? Got it. Price alone, or price aside, if that price wasn't there and we were just talking about the solution, let me ask you, is there anything in the solution you don't like or that you feel like is missing? That's isolating. We're looking for any other parallel objections. And they go, no, it's exactly what I want. Nothing extra, nothing missing. And then you collaborate. Okay, so I gave you a proposal for what you need. The cost is higher than you're paying now. We did kind of already talk about that, which is a little bit of the source of my confusion. But I get it. What do you want to do? And then you pass it to them. This is how you handle price. Guys, you don't owe them some magical number that they invented to sell your service. Your price costs what it costs. If they're really, really combative, you can be like, okay, would you buy half of a Tesla for 50% off if I cut it down the middle? If I took the chain and one wheel off of a bicycle, would that be worth less? I'd argue it's worth nothing. The only way to solve your security issues and make sure that your users have timely support is that we have every system in place to be able to respond fast and know what happened before it got there. I only have 2 expenses, Mr. Customer. It's tools and labor, and neither of those can change for me. So what do you want to do? We're just quantifying need. We know the need exists. Now we're quantifying it to a dollar amount. Now we've got budget, authority, need. And then we're going to get into timing. Timing is pretty simple. How's your current partnership structured? We're trying to figure out if what their term end is or whatever. Are there any big projects I need to know about or plan for? And then this is the big one. If you only remember one timing question, you ask, in a perfect world, when would you want us to actually get started? And they go, yesterday. You go, okay, here's what that would mean. I need about a week from signature to onboard you. When do you really want to start? Monday? That would mean you'd have to sign an agreement today. Now so just to set my expectations, is that realistic? Or do you need more time? I need more time. Got it. Then that means, just so you know, if you want to start on Monday, it would have to be a signature today. But if you want to start on September 1, no problem. Why September 1? And just ask why. Feel free to keep those questions coming if you've got them. That's BANT. That's deal structuring questions done. When you get good at this, they will start sending you contracts, redacted contracts, and invoices from the incumbent providers after this meeting before you go on site. You'll literally know exactly what you're up against. It's actually way easier than you think. You just ask for it. Okay, now, in short, the way we deal with prospect questions is you answer honestly and then you reverse them. So I don't want you to just get in the habit of not answering people's questions. Don't hear me say that. But the default response should be, great question, why do you ask? So they go, how long have you been in business? 7 years. Why do you ask? I'm just curious. Well, it's a specific question. Do you have any concerns about it? No. We worked with another vendor and they were kind of a startup and they all kind of fell apart and we got left in the lurch. Boom. We just discovered a huge pain point. Ember Mug Life. Sean says, I'll never drink cold coffee again. Answer honestly in reverse. They go, what's your price? It is okay. Still take into consideration the thing I said before. You don't necessarily owe them a specific number the first time they ask. Sorry, you just don't. Because think about it this way. This is like a concept. Think of the concept of moral equivocation, right? From that old play. Listen to the question that they're asking and why they're asking it. You need to remember that if this person knew how to solve their problem would no longer exist. So they keep looking for a better IT provider, but they're just going sort by price, low to high, and then disqualifying everything that's not the lowest price. That's why they have a shitty IT company. This person is the objection that you need to overcome. They are the obstacle of their own they're the object of their own demise here. They're the reason they don't have the right MSP. You have to help them overcome themselves. We're not being condescending. We're being experts at our field. Your therapist is not being condescending when they don't tell you how to solve your problem right away. They ask it a bunch of other ways. They're trying to get you to come to the conclusion because that's what therapy really is. Sales is therapy. You with me? That's what we're trying to achieve. They go, listen, I just need a price. I hear you loud and clear. I'll tell you what, I can commit to giving you as accurate as a price today as possible. If you can commit to going through my questions and letting me get what I need to know so that I can tell you the price. How does that sound? No, I just want a number. I might go, are you comparing me to something that you're currently using? Or are you trying to compare me to another quote in your inbox? Well, I'm just trying to get 3 quotes and I've already got a couple. Then I'm going to use a negative reversal and I go, do you want to make your life easier and just tell you a really high number so you can pick the one you got? $1 million a month. Does that help? No, I want a real quote. You go, okay, but why didn't you just sign the one you already have? What's wrong with it? Negative reversal. That's how you handle it when they're really, really, really trying to crush you like that and they're playing hardball because they're coming out all defensive because they don't know how to buy. So you don't have to take it personal. Always fight for clarity. That's what I'm getting at. Just fight for clarity behind vague questions. Seek to truly understand and empathize with their concerns and objections. That's what the clarification is. And finally, if there's 0 objections, force one out of them. I say it all the time when I go, any concerns from you so far, Mr. Customer? No, no concerns. If you had a concern, what would it be? And then all of a sudden they say something. They say a concern. Because they did have one. They just didn't want to get in an argument with you. Okay? Almost done. Almost done. I know we're time. The next thing you need to do is close the meeting. Guys, this is critical. Bam, fam. Book a meeting from a meeting. Bam, fam. Book a meeting from a meeting. If you have indistinct time between all your meetings, if your sales pipeline takes you like 4 months to go through all your meetings, that is your fault. This person is sitting here right now, and we're going to transition from the discovery and deal structure questions and go, listen, I've got what I need to know. The next step is going to be an on-site consultation. It does look like you guys are down the fairway, the type of things we do. Do you have your calendar handy? Great. I've got, and then you give them 2 times. Give them, okay, I've got a morning and afternoon. I've got tomorrow morning or Friday afternoon or Thursday afternoon. Either of those better for you? If they say neither, then you say, okay, what time works? But don't give them a Calendly link. You pull up your own Calendly link. You book it right then for them, with them. Okay, so you said tomorrow at 10 a.m. works. I'm going to need 45 minutes on site. So explain the next step in the process. I need 45 minutes on site. About 15 of that's going to be sitting down with you at your conference table, talking specifics. The rest of it's going to be me looking around. I might even take some pictures if that's okay with you. Just make sure that I wrap my head around it. Remember, if you're getting ghosted here, it is your fault. It is not the prospect's fault. If something keeps happening to you, it's because of something you keep doing. If something keeps not happening to you, it's because of something you keep not doing. Make sense? Very simple. This is discovery, guys. And you all are going to tell me you know what to do from here. You know how to close, right? Great. If you do this, your closing rate will go up. Your sales process will get better. I told you guys I was going to give you something for free, and I forgot, but I'm going to give it to you right now. Christina, if you're around, can you help me find that link? Oh, no, I got it. How do I broadcast this to you guys? I'm going to put this... see if that will even work. I don't know. Here we go. This is a long link. I'm sorry, it's a long link. But what we have here is a bunch of free stuff, 100% free. I've got some great resources for an account executive on how to structure your time. And we've got a great lead calculator that we made that lives here. They're both 100% free. If you just go to feelgoodmsp.com, as well, we have a bunch of stuff there. Obviously, if you want to learn more about how Feel-Good MSP helps MSPs book new MRR every month, average a new client in less than 90 days with a money-back guarantee, book an assessment. Pretty easy. You'll talk to me directly. Easy stuff. And we'll go through that. And just to show you my process, it's about a 10, 15-minute interview to see if you're an MSP that's the right fit for the program. Within the end of 15 minutes, you'll know what my price is. You'll know what the time commitment is. You'll know everything that's going to be expected of you and everything we're going to give you. And then if you're on board, I'll take you through the full detail and show you all the schematics so you know exactly what the deal is. Mike says he's not doing the BAM fam. Don't want to be shy or pushy. I don't think there's anything pushy about saying, when do you want to meet next? That is in your head. That's head trash that's not serving you. They will thank you for following up. They will thank you for following up. I promise. At the end of the day, they go, thanks for doing that. Thank you for following up. I appreciate it. Is there a link that will show LinkedIn, please? Is there a link that will show in LinkedIn? Thank you, Ashley, for doing that. Check that out. Free stuff. This is just for me. Thanks, Ted. Much love. Fort Worth. What, when, if you want to learn about if you're in the Dallas, Fort Worth area, or you're close enough that you want to come to a live event in October, email me, brian@feelgoodmsp.com, or DM me on LinkedIn and just say, tell me all about it. I'll give you all those details where there's some stuff that's getting confirmed, so I don't want to speak too soon, but looking forward to that. Oh, ScaleCon. If you're coming to ScaleCon, I'll be there. My whole team will be there. A lot of us will, so you can hang out in person. We'll drink a Sazerac together. Jacob, thank you so much, my friend. I'm glad this was helpful. I think I answered all the questions. I know we're going a little bit long. Somebody wanted a copy of this. You know what? Go to the landing page, the go.feelgoodmsp. I'm sorry, I don't remember if this specific deck is there, but there should be a recording of this that you can always pull. I appreciate it. I appreciate this. Mike, I got your email the other day. That was so gracious. I'm so glad. Ted, you got a discovery call in 30 minutes? Set the agenda, Ted. Set a clear, practice it in the mirror 10 times. Please, 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 please do this for me. Practice it in the mirror 10 times, how you're going to start the meeting. Be ready. It's going to work. 7 questions. Do you find there's never really 7 questions? Good question. It can be, Mike, it kind of depends. But really, what do I really want to know? How many users do you have? How many locations are you? Do you have a server? Do you have a firewall? Who's your current IT company? What are you paying? When's your contract up? Are you Mac or Microsoft or both? What else do you really need to know? I feel like that's enough for me to then come on site. That's what I think. It's a great question. I'm happy to stick around for another bonus few minutes if anybody else has questions. We've still got 40 or so of us on here. Any other questions? Put them in the chat. Y'all know where to reach me, guys. I feel like I was supposed to plug something else. There was another thing I was going to tell you about, another event we're doing or something. Just keep an eye on what we're doing. We have another webinar that will be coming up actually, or we're doing a workshop. It's a very different format. That's going to have like a fixed amount of people who can come to it. And it's going to be a live Zoom call where we're actually talking. Okay. And that's going to be, I want to say that's in August, end of August. Let's see. How do we get the contract and or invoice from the current provider? Easy. Great question. I think that was from Sheila. Sheila, this is how you do it. You go, hey, how are you currently being supported? And they usually say like, I don't know. Here's what you do. You go, okay, so I have a lot of discovery to do to get a full grip on an accurate pricing, because our pricing can be influenced by how many devices you have, how your licensing is being paid for, Microsoft, all of that stuff. Here's how you do it. You ready? Mr. Customer, the easiest way, the fastest way for me to get that information is to work off of a copy of your current invoice or agreement. Then you pause, and they might just go, okay. But if they show pause, then you say, I'm happy you can redact pricing and the logo and stuff. That I don't really need that. What I'd love to know is, what are you getting and how are they delivering it and how are they structuring it? That's going to help me a lot to help you explain any differences or similarities between our model and their model, because there's like a million ways to bill and structure managed services. That's how you say it. What do they really have to lose? And they can just go and they could just Sharpie over the logo, or they could just put a black box over the logo and the price. But even a lot of times when they say they're going to do that, they end up not doing it. Because what do they really have to lose? Especially when you've already given bookends of your price. You're like, look, I'm 125 to 205 a seat. That's what I'm going to be. Okay, so if you show me something that's in or out of that, it doesn't matter. My price is my price. But I could explain the like 40 things that change my price, or I could just get a copy of how you're currently set up, and then I could just give you the actual answer, and then I can explain it from there, and it will save us both a lot of calories. That's how you do it. Mike, why isn't per hour better? No, because you can't productize your time. MSP, if you can have a productized service like managed services, then you can get more leverage for your time, and the amount of money you make per hour no longer has a ceiling. But you can't bill people $1 million an hour, but you could bill 1,000 people $1,000 an hour. So that's my short answer. Per hour is fine if you have short-term goals and you don't want to scale it. If you want to sell the business as well, then you're really going to hurt yourself, because People want to sell a product more than the time. That's a really crude, reductive answer to your question, which is a great question. Glad this was helpful, guys. Does anybody else have any questions? All right. Hey, much love to you all. You know where to find me. Thank you, everybody. Brian at feelgoodmsp.com. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Get that free stuff on that website. We'll see you at the next thing. Bye.